What's up, Doc? What's up, people? Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today is a little bit different of a video. Putting life obligations aside, there were a few movies that I did see on my own time, my own free time, and I didn't have the chance to actually make videos on them individually, so I just saved my energy and my reviews briefly for this video specifically, the winter catch-up video. Now, if you remember, back in the summer, I made a summer catch-up video where I talked about a few movies that I did not get the chance to review then. Now, doing the same exact thing. There's one movie I still haven't seen yet that I feel like I need to see before this year is over because I might love it. It's Boyhood. But other than that, I feel like I've accomplished what I've wanted to see this year. Every other movie that's been coming out lately, I would like to see, but they're not movies I need to see. Coming down the wire here, this is one of the last videos for 2014 on this MaffmanJones channel, which is crazy, but let's get started with the first movie. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is the sequel to the first How to Train Your Dragon, which released in 2010 and stars the voices of people like Gerard Butler and Jay Baruchel. And this is an animated movie made by DreamWorks, and this series is one of those little treasures that if you know about these movies, well, it's a gift because this film was fantastic. It does what every sequel should do. It raises the stakes. It continues the story. This one was unique, though, because it actually showed age differences in the characters. A few years passed by, and it's really cool to see the progression of these characters. And I don't know if they're going to do it again for the third movie, like become adults, which would actually be really interesting. But this movie did things that did move me emotionally. It was very colorful and vibrant and beautiful. The dragon riding, like, it's some of the coolest stuff you could see from an animated movie. There have been Lion King comparisons made to this movie, and I don't see why except for one particular scene, but in context, it's not the same, but kind of, but not really. But overall, How to Train Your Dragon 2 is a movie that if you haven't seen the first one, first of all, go watch that first because I feel like you need to watch the first one because it makes the emotions more engaging, and it's a really fun time. And I do recommend it. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good Applebee's meal. Now, I didn't give it a 4 because while it did emotionally engage me strongly, it had a lot of things that I've seen in previous animated movies like all the time, and it didn't feel like it stood out in the crowd, but it's still a worthy watch. Next is Dumb and Dumber 2, the sequel to the film that came out over 20 years ago. Wow. Starring Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. This film had me apprehensive because of the fact that this is a sequel that was being made 20 years later. There was hype to it, but these actors, not particularly Jeff Daniels, because he's been doing more serious work as of late, and he's become a very competent actor. He's always been. But Jim Carrey hasn't really done anything good as of late. He's not really doing much at all. So to see these two really good actors returning to these characters, it was terrifying, because what if it just seemed embarrassing? What if it seemed like a joke of a movie? And the movie is a joke, even though I think it's self-aware of the fact. Overall, I just wasn't satisfied with Dumb and Dumber 2. It made me laugh maybe 2 or 3 times, but the rest of the film, I was just sitting there stone-faced, just watching the story unfold, and it's so dumb, so dumb, so dumb. It's all the formulaic cheese of previous decades, without the conviction. Overall, I would call it a disappointment of a comedy and just an overall film, and I would not recommend seeing it unless you really want to see what these characters are up to 20 years later. Dumb and Dumber 2 is a Sam Worthington of a comedy. It's 2 out of 5. Next is Next is Birdman, starring Michael Keaton. This movie rocks. Michael Keaton in it is really good. Edward Norton is amazing. Emma Stone has a meaty role in it, and she has a couple scenes. Not many, but the scenes that she is in, she conquers. It's an acting powerhouse, it's a filmmaking powerhouse, and it says a lot about the movie industry, making fun of it while also having fun with it. It's also filmed to look like one long take, but every scene is one take. Every single individual scene is one take. It's a low number of shots, but the movie is one hell of a ride, and if you like movies at all, I implore you to watch this movie ASAP. It's amazing. Birdman's a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's maffadociously darn good. Next is Enemy, directed by the man who made last year's great film Prisoners, and it stars Jake Gyllenhaal. This movie's weird. To put it simply, the story of this movie is about Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a history teacher, finding out that he is a doppelganger who is living a movie star life, and he tries to find out what this doppelganger is doing. He tries to seek him out. And I don't want to say anything else, but there's a lot of powerful imagery in this movie. It's really creepy and terrifying. The last shot of the movie made me scream out loud the first time. Spiders have a huge presence in the film, and I do recommend that if you want to know what's going on, I think Chris Duckman's video about analyzing the movie is the best place to go, because it helped me a lot. But the overall film is one of those experiences where you're watching it and you don't know what you're watching, but you can't help but watch it. It's like watching a really weird car crash. Although I would probably never watch it again, I'm glad I did watch it. It's a really good movie for what it is, and I'm going to give it a darn good movie rating. It's a 4 out of 5. Sweating in here. Why is it 50 degrees in New York in December? What the fuck? Next is Top 5, directed and written by Chris Rock. Remember that guy? Yeah, he still makes movies. But the difference here is that this movie is actually pretty good. I didn't love it like other people did, but it's a film basically about Chris Rock's life and what it's come to over the years. But he plays a different character, but it's essentially Chris Rock's life. And he's made these big Hollywood movies, and he's tired of being taken as a joke. He wants to be taken seriously. But the main kicker of the plot is when he has to get an interview from somebody from the New York Times, who is actually played by Rosario Dawson. And that's when something really cool brews. Jokes transpire, emotions play out, and there's something about the film that's very heartfelt and charming and warming that makes you feel good about life. Although I think the directing of the film wasn't fantastic from a filmmaking standpoint, I think the direction was solid. I did feel good leaving the theater from watching this movie, and some of the jokes are hilarious. But it didn't quite click with me the way I thought it was going to. It was enjoyable, and it made me think about a lot of things, because it relates to one of my good friends, Pete Davidson, and a lot of the stand-up comedy and all that stuff. But overall, it was just a pretty good movie. But I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good Applebee's meal. I had to save the best for last. The film that's been causing so much controversy in the world for the past few weeks, or for a while, honestly. It just really picked up recently. The Interview, starring Seth Rogen and James Franco. The movie about James Franco, who plays Dave Skylark, brother of Chip Skylark, my shiny teeth and me. He's like a Ryan Seacrest type of guy, and he interviews celebrities like E.T. or Access Hollywood. Seth Rogen is like his executive producer, his assistant, and his best friend, but the government wants James Franco and Seth Rogen to fly over to North Korea to set up an interview with Kim Jong-un and assassinate him. How did this movie get past the pitching part in the studio? I was going to make a video concerning all the madness surrounding this film and what could have transpired, what did transpire, the people reacting to it in both the good and bad ways, but it subsided. It's all gravy now because the movie is getting released in limited theaters and video on demand, including Google Play and YouTube. I rented it on YouTube for $6, which is pretty cheap considering, because movies are $14, $15 these days for a matinee price. Jesus Christ. It is an above average comedy. Is it a film that's worth getting into a giant world war over? Definitely not. No movie is. Having said all that, the film is pretty honest. It's funny and it's crazy, ridiculously over the top, but it's honest and it's not trying to like really throw down Kim Jong-un as a bad person. By the way, the actor who plays Kim Jong-un in this movie is amazing. He's got really bright white teeth, like Chip Skylark. Without spoiling, it is possible to feel just a little bit of sympathy for Kim Jong-un when stuff goes down towards the third act of the movie. I laughed out loud quite a few times, and I watched this movie alone. It's really hard to make me laugh when I'm watching a movie by myself. A lot of it isn't just raunchy and risque, it's actually clever. Some of them involving the most abnormal use of a Katy Perry song I've ever seen in my life. Comedies usually aren't known for the actual filmmaking process, but Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen have a good eye for actual filmmaking because the direction of this movie is pretty good. The pacing is great, it never really slows down, but it actually feels like a movie. Overall, The Interview isn't a film that shouldn't start wars, but it's definitely a fun time, and I recommend it highly. It's a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good comedy. And that's it, folks. That's my winter catch-up video. I hope you enjoyed it. Which of these movies did you see? And which other movies did you see that I did not mention? and I did not review yet. Let me know in the comments down below. What'd you think? Please like the video and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss a video from me ever again. Also, check out Facebook and Twitter in the info box. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and I'll see you guys for the top 10 and the worst 10 of 2014. Oh my god. Cannot wait. For one of them. The other one I kind of want to blow my brains out over. I think you can figure out which one that is. Thank the world for bad movies.